Martini here. I've decided that I'm going to do a daily read aloud for you because I miss reading to you and I don't know, I wanted to start. So our book is going to be called The Somewhat True Adventures of Sammy Shine, his imagination and some of the stories he created when he was a child. So let's get started. The Somewhat True Adventures of Sammy Shine. Chapter 1. The door to Hank's room flew open. "It's ready," a voice called out. Hank looked up from his drawing. "What's ready?" he asked. His brother stood in the doorway. "The plane, you ding-dong. It's ready to fly." Jimmy glanced around the room. "Where? It's ready." Jimmy's eyes landed on a shoebox with holes punched in the lid. "He in there?" Hank sat up straight. "Yeah, but are you sure it's safe? I mean, it's not going to crash or anything, is it?" "It's practically uncrashable." Jimmy sounded annoyed. "Perfectly designed, totally aerodynamic." Hank gulped. He trusted Jimmy. His brother could design and build anything, turning wood and wires into something amazing. But this time, the stakes were high. Hank remembered when his brother had first unrolled the large sheet of paper with the words "Spirit of Sammy, Trans Farm" boldly lettered across the top of the page. The detailed blueprints showed a beautifully proportioned airplane, delicately balanced on 3 rubber tires and powered by a gas engine. A tiny door opened to a cockpit at the front, just behind the engine. There was a cargo bay toward the rear of the plane. That was only 3 weeks ago. I don't know. Hank glanced at the box. Sammy doesn't like heights. He might get airsick. So who do you think Sammy is, guys? Let's see if you can make some predictions. "Not in this, baby," Jimmy replied. "The spirit of Sammy is going to ride the wind like a pro. Steady as she goes. No pitching, no yawing, no rolling, no air sickness." "How do you steer it?" "Ding dong! Don't you know anything?" "This plane is the latest. It's RC, remote controlled. It'll fly like a dream. With me controlling it from the ground. Come on, I'll show you. Bring Sammy." Hank reluctantly picked up Sammy's shoebox and followed Jimmy downstairs to the senses, remains of past projects and beginnings of new ones, drills and saws and soldering guns, jars of nuts and bolts and nails and bits, rope and tape and glue and paints, pliers and screwdrivers, dead batteries, scraps of wood, dismantled flashlights, stubs of pencils, and old telephone dials and broken speakers and radio insides, everything scattered and piled in all directions. Sounds like quite a workshop. Sitting proudly in the middle of it all, glistening and smelling of fresh, dark green paint, was the spirit of Sammy. She was perched on 3 tiny rubber tires and seemed almost impatient to take to the air. Her name was emblazoned across the fuselage in Chinese red letters. "Hank controls the tail so I can turn it." Jimmy picked up the small plane and pointed inside. "See the little wires inside the cockpit? It's just like a real plane, connected to the rudders and everything. There's even a throttle. Sammy could fly it himself if he had a brain. I even made him a flight helmet." But I love his illustrations. "But the remote control does everything. Amazing, if I do say so myself." "So what do you need Sammy for?" Hank asked. "What's the point of flying a plane if there's no passenger?" Hank squinted at the device. He wasn't convinced. "Well, what about if the plane crashes? Is it safe?" "Totally safe." "Will Sammy have a parachute?" "A parachute? Oh, geez." Jimmy rolled his eyes. "Look, to go down in history. You're nuts. Well, you have no imagination. Listen, think about when the local papers get a hold of this. You, me, Sammy, we will be heroes. Maybe even front page news." "Yeah, right," Hank sniffed. "No, really. There will be a thing on the workroom wall showing Charles Lindbergh standing next to his airplane. We might even get Popular Science or National Geographic interested." "I don't know. Everybody at school would hear about it. If you had any friends, they'd be begging for your autograph." Hank pondered for a moment. "National Geographic? Sure. I don't know." Jimmy ignored him. The day has got to be perfect. I mean perfect. Either no breeze or a breeze from the south. Clear and no rain. The latest weather report says that tomorrow is supposed to be just right. He looked again at Hank. Have Sammy ready and prepped tomorrow at 1100 hours. Hank gulped. You guarantee that Sammy will go up and come back? I mean, alive? He goes up a ruin, comes back a hero. He'll be the mouse version of Lucky Lindy. Hank lightly tapped the side of the shoebox as he lifted the lid. Hey, Sammy, you ready for high adventure? Here's Sammy. He's a mouse. You want to take a trip across the country in an airplane? He saw a pink nose and a pair of soft gray-brown ears poke out a bed of sawdust. Dark, guileless eyes peered up at him. It was just too much. Sammy stays on the ground, Hank said firmly. Go get another pilot, a grasshopper or something. Huh? You heard me. Sammy is out. Jay's face reddened. That's the thanks that I get? I build an airplane. The spirit of Sammy will have a pilot. You can bet on that. That is the end of chapter 1. So you can tune in tomorrow and